Greetings and thank you for choosing to listen to this informal presentation. As revealed in standardized tests, a significant achievement gap exists among groups of children. And in this review, we will examine if this disparity of knowledge is correlated to such elements as economics or the lack of cognitive learning taking place in the home at an early age or other undermining factors, all which will prevent young children's ability to be smart. So this presentation will offer mothers or caregivers necessary information to correct this deficiency of knowledge and thus close the achievement gap. Our topic, the first 3 years, a critical period for children's cognitive and emotional development. I am Clifton Castile. Before we discuss procedures and techniques which are instrumental in supporting children's ability to be smart or to have lifelong intelligence, I will briefly mention a renowned 3-year pilot study for which I was a project administrator. Why mention it? Because the outcome of that study is correlated with the information given in this presentation. Our professional staff was concerned why such a large achievement gap existed among children born to socioeconomically disadvantaged parents, as revealed in standardized tests. And we know that this insufficiency of literacy must be corrected at an early age. Now we'll use the acronym SED for socioeconomically disadvantaged. Our Learning Center was named the Parent-Child Educational Developmental Center in New Orleans. Our ambitious study was supported by various educational organizations, a local university, and grants were provided. Before we initiated our novel study, our professional staff was aware that no child enters this world smarter than another child. Well, while some children are significantly smarter than others, and we know that this smartness will continue throughout life with them. Well, we will uncover why this disparity exists. The hypothesis of our renowned study was this: if SED mothers are supervised and presented with qualitative and quantitative information to be exercised with their newborns and proceeding through the first 3 years, now, would this approach and this avenue be what is needed to correct or to lessen the achievement deficiency of their children? Participants for this study consisted of 60 young SED mothers and their newborns, and they were provided into 2 groups of 30. Group 1, our treated group, consisted of mothers and their newborns, and they were required to visit our Learning Center weekdays for a duration of 3 years. Each mother is instructed in parenting. Mothers, along with their newborns, received free transportation to our center, availability of a GED instructor, a social worker, registered nurse, and there were other incentives at our Learning Center if mother needed. Group 2, our control group, were not administered any type of parental advisement from our staff. Now that's very important. Keep that in mind. We did not offer any tutorial intervention. Each participant received a small monetary stipend. All 60 children were provided with medical care when needed. If a child is ill, little learning will take place. Now, at the conclusion of this renowned 3-year study, all children were evaluated to measure their cognitive achievements. Children of mothers who received parental instructions from our staff were significantly ahead in their achievements or their smartness to the children in the control group. Again, remember the mothers did not receive any tutorial intervention from our staff. This achievement is analyzed as being 11 months advanced in cognition or smartness. And most noteworthy, the group's advanced smartness prepared them for pre-K. The takeaway of this unprecedented study is this: when a mother is involved in a child's early learning, there's an overwhelming chance a child will be intellectually and emotionally prepared in life. But why is the first 3 years so crucial for learning information? Significant research states This is a critical period for learning and disseminated information, and it's due to the structure and the arrangements of neurons in the brain. A child's brain is malleable or plastic and is designed to consume a myriad of information and to do so faster than any other 3-year period in life. Neurologists offer this verification for learning. It is from birth to 3 years when children design an outline or a formula for learning and retaining information. And unconsciously, this style of learning or acquiring information stands little chance of being changed later in life. This is a time when children learn to develop self-help skills, i.e. self-confidence, problem solving, self-regulation. But this can also be a devastating time. That is, when children establish self-doubt, self-flagellation. Simply stated, it is not what children learn during this period, rather how children choose to learn information during this time. And it's going to be exercised throughout life. How do babies develop smartness? And we know that babies aren't born smart. They're not born intelligent. However, babies are born curious and they're ravenous for knowledge. And babies are programmed to learn how to learn. And babies are not afraid of failure. Babies unconsciously set goals, i.e., I'm going to learn to walk, I'm going to learn to talk, I'm going to learn to be smart, I am going to learn how to garner sympathy. Babies are really geniuses. And babies are extremely observant to their surroundings. Their highly designed brain never takes a rest from trying to solve something, to understand issues, and they do so by asking a wealth of questions. Social scientists gives us this valuable thought: the greatest predictor of whether a person will be smart, or whether a person will be successful in life, or if a person will have emotional intelligence in life, is determined by what kinds of learning taking place in the first 3 years of life. This is going to be very important, so underline this. Our first 3 years will determine our future. What we will be, what we will want to be, how we will see others, how we will see ourselves. It all happens the first 3 years. How many of you believe that you know how a child obtains their smartness? Well, you may say, it's the parent with the smartest genes. They just donate some of that intelligence. That's not so. Rather, a child's intelligence and well-being comes from their mother. You see, the mother spends more quality time with a child. A mother's involvement is worth 25 points to her child's ability to be smart, to have lifelong intelligence. For instance, when a child points and says, "Mama, I see that white duck," well, a mother may say, "No, Tasha, that's a white chicken. You see, a chicken is also white just like a duck is white, honey." Well, the mother will procure a picture book with both animals displayed side by side so a child can process the difference. Does race play a determining role in a person's ability to be smart, to have lifelong intelligence? Consider, numerous sets of like identical twins are separated at birth or adoption and raised by either professional parents or by working parents. Years later, the identical twins are evaluated for their cognitive growth, their smartness. Here's the result. Twins raised in homes of professional parents had a remarkable 15% advantage in their smartness to the twins living with working parents. So, it can be underscored that race is not a major contributor to a person having quality intelligence or being smart. It is the awareness of what should take place the first 3 years. Because we know many professional parents very smart, but their children are not smart because they didn't give the time to them during that first 3 years. Now, children raised by SED mothers will have nearly the same opportunity to be smart. That is, if mothers are involved early in children's lives. For children to be smart or to have quality intelligence, some type of communication must take place, and in most cases, it's done orally, I think we all have seen that commercial. It's a Pampers commercial. And the mother's in the hospital and the nurse says, oh, here, mother, here's your gorgeous newborn. Mother takes the baby, places it against her chest, doesn't say anything, just staring at the baby, probably checking out features and so forth. Now, the baby was crying, but the baby stopped crying because the baby probably hasn't had anyone to hold them so close. They don't know what a human is. They're baffled. And the baby is saying, I really don't understand this. Now, what should this mother be doing at this particular time? Well, the mother should immediately start smiling and talking. You know, the mother could call the baby's name, you know, Cynthia, Mother Kaylee loves you. Mother could tease the baby. I'm talking about maybe kissing the baby on the stomach or rubbing her nose against the baby's nose, smiling and so forth. And you may say, why would you waste energy talking to a baby, more or less a newborn? They don't understand a word you're saying. Well, you're not wasting energy because they do not understand a word that you're saying, but they do know that you're trying to establish communication with them and they feel better. You know, they feel loved. When children hear their mothers talking, they become eager to learn how to talk. About the importance of early communication and the effects upon children, consider. In 2003, a most important research study was done to examine the quality and quantity of talking taking place between parents and children, beginning at 7 months, proceeding through 36 months. 42 tape recorders were distributed in homes of SED parents, and a lot of them were on government assistance, working parents, and professional parents. The result: children living with SED parents or socioeconomically disadvantaged parents heard 30 million fewer words than children living with professional or high-income families. Let me put that in a different light for you because this is so important. The average child living in a home of professional parents hear 2,000 words each hour. A child living in a home of working class parents hear 1,200 words each hour. However, a child living in a home of SED parents will hear 616 words each hour. Again, 2,000 words spoken, 1,200 words spoken, 616 words spoken each hour. Now, this difference in talking is extremely concerning between caregivers and children. And it begs the question, how are children supposed to learn to communicate? How are children supposed to be smart? How are children supposed to have lifelong intelligence? How are children supposed to be able to compete in life if they are not spoken to and hear words spoken in their presence, you know, to an older sibling or something? Now, without reservations, we can theorize this. If SED parents would engage in more meaningful talking, it is more than plausible the achievement gap of their children would be mitigated. Follow-up studies reveal these differences in language and interaction experiences have lasting effects on children's performance later in life. Talking to a young child helps with learning of words and their meanings, and it contributes to their physical well-being. When talking happens, 100 billion neurons of the brain becomes stimulated, and the process of learning is realized. On the other hand, if billions of neurons are not able to make connections between individual neurons, they will die, and learning cannot happen. For language to develop, mothers should talk to babies in baby talk, known as motherese. Now, this type of talking or language, and I'm talking about motherese, is done by elongating a word without eliminating any syllables in a word. And it's done in a high pitch. Jalum, you are smiling. Mother should not say, Jalum, you're smiling. That's an adult talk. When mothers engage in this type of talking, and I'm talking again about motherese, children listen attentively, and their vocabulary increases 2 times more than traditional talk. And that's the traditional talk with babies, and nothing more than nonsensical talking. Something like this. Jalem, you have a boo-boo on your leg. Instead of saying, Jalem, you have a wound on your leg. Early communication with the child may be, LaWanda, your diaper needs changing. Why is the mother smiling? Because an infant at 3 months is capable of distinguishing the difference between a smile and a frown. Now, how do young children learn to decode unfamiliar words and to use them in sentences? Well, it happens only if words are spoken with content and in a short sentence. Say an infant points to an object, it's a bottle. Mother should not say bottle. A mother should maybe pick up the bottle and say, Francisco, this is your bottle of warm milk. So often we hear parents, don't pick up that thing. Doesn't say what the thing is. And mother has to be repetitious. Mother should not use nicknames or slangs. It'll confuse her child. Now, to buttress my point about using a word in isolation, suppose I say, causerie. You might be baffled. How about this? Tell you what, let's have a causerie to better understand each other. If unfamiliar words are presented in the correct manner at the correct time, by age 2, a child's vocabulary will consist of a minimum of 500 words. And by age 3, a child's vocabulary should exceed 1,000 words. And by age 5, a child should have at least 9,000 word vocabulary storage. Now, we do not expect for a child to use all of their vocabulary words in their daily conversations. You know, we have approximately 30,000 word vocabulary. We don't use them. Some of them we'll never use, but we do expect for a child to make the connection. Perhaps a mother will say, James, please tell your father it's time for dinner. And James may say, Daddy, it's time to eat. Receiving praise and receiving encouragement give children their confidence and their courage. For instance, LeBron, you put your toys in your toy box. I'm so proud of you. I didn't have to tell you. Children living with SED parents are encouraged 4 times less than children living with working parents and 6 times less than children living with professional parents. A child with confidence will have courage to solve new challenges, anxious to test their beliefs about something, and they will strive to be independent. They don't want to ask the mother for anything. A mother should give choices. Well, you may say a choice is important. Yes, it helps children to make decisions, and it helps them to become smarter, and it helps them to be more precocious. Michael, would you like to go to the animal park for small animals and you can feed carrots to the white baby bunnies? Or would you like to go visit grandmama's? You know, she might bake us some cookies and so forth. Which one? Which choice now? Oh, good choice, good choice. Now, Michael, please try to make a complete sentence we talked about. Oh, that's so great. Thank you, Michael. Oh, you're so smart. Excessive reprimands and put-downs will impede children's ability to be smart, to have lifelong intelligence. A child says, Mama, I spilled my orange juice. Mother might say, you look here, Whitney. How many times have I told you to let your big sister pour your orange juice? You're only 5 years old. You can't do much of anything. You just make a mess, Whitney. In junior high, a teacher might say, Whitney, would you like to answer this question for your classmates? No, teach. I don't want to answer. Now, Whitney hasn't heard the question. However, she remembers being reprimanded or put down most of her life, and she believes that if she gives the incorrect answer, the teacher might embarrass her. However, the teacher might hear, oh, teach, please, give that question to me. I can answer it. Okay, Robert. No, I'm sorry, Robert. That's not the correct answer. Nice try, though. Now, Robert's confidence, Robert's courage are not deflated when his answers are incorrect, or that his classmates are laughing at him. Why? Well, I think we may surmise this. When Robert was a young child, his mother encouraged him. She challenged him. She praised him, even if a test was not successful. His mother then threatened him, I'm going to whip you, you scream at him. And she realized that, like most children, they deliberately place food on the floor, on their clothing, or pour something on it, because she realized this is what children do. They want to see what's going to happen. And she realized it's deliberately done. They may say, I'm going to put applesauce on the carpet to see if the applesauce is going to disappear or the carpet will disappear. And this makes them smarter because they'll move on to another task. That's I got my answer, so I'll need another challenge. Physical and verbal abuses are most destructive to prevent children's ability to be smart, to have confidence, to have emotional intelligence, to know how to express empathy and sympathy. Abuses such as spanking, tapping on the hand, shaking, yelling, verbal threats, ignoring direct questions from a child, put downs, and even frowns. Such negative exercises will prevent the ability of children to gain additional information, and they will be frightened or hesitant to reinforce what has been learned. You have to reinforce knowledge. A child who suffers any kinds of abuse could be deficient in their intelligence or their IQ by at least 8 quality points or even more. And this lost intelligence stands little chance of being realized later in life. The average IQ is 100 points. And you may say, well, I'll send my child to one of those high achieving schools later on. That'll get it back. No, it won't, because the high achieving students there are already elevated. According to child psychologists, negative behaviors done to a young child will be more destructive than a child who has only a few toys, or a child living with a single mother who may be receiving financial support from the government. You see, a child who is consistently abused will experience depression, become antisocial, display aggressive behaviors. If a mother, say, refrains from applying negative behaviors when a child is much older, well, it won't matter very much. You see, a child will always remember being treated badly, and psychologists say it will just make the situation worse. Mothers or caregivers must realize that children do not set out to make their lives miserable when they seek answers or demand attention when the mother's busy. They're doing this to reinforce something. They're not sure, so they're asking the mother. When children are playing, they're learning. So when do children start the process of reading to learn? Before grade 3, children are learning to identify words. Now, after 3rd grade, children read to learn additional information and to become more informed. By age 3, if a child hasn't learned critical thinking skills or word processing, they will be deficient in their intelligence by as much as 2 years when they start 1st grade. Mothers cannot expect for teachers to do what they should have done during the first 3 years. They don't have the time. If a child is unable to read proficiently by 3rd grade, there's a 40% chance they will eventually drop out of school. Today, 45% of children are not prepared for 1st grade learning, and this figure is higher among children of SED parents. Reading or being read to grows the neurons in children's brain, and thus their vivid imagination increases and their intelligence will be elevated. You see, majority of the people who invent or discover things are not geniuses. Their knowledge is just a little above normal. Majority of people who invent things are relentless. They'll say at a young age, I bet I can put this square in a round hole. And they stay with it. But they need the mother's or caregiver's involvement to understand. Going to a library helps young children with their learning. Beside books there, the library features various learning programs for young children, such as storytelling, coloring classes. If children are mixing with other children of diverse backgrounds, their tolerance or their empathy is enhanced. mothers should take their children to zoos, parks, and just taking a child to a supermarket will help them to become smarter. You know, a mother can say, would you like this bag, a large bag of cookies, or would you like 2 bags of cookies? Well, we know what they're going to say, and mother say, great, good choice. A mother should have a designated time for a child to read, and a mother should serve as a role model. A mother should read at that time. Mother might say, Charles, tell Mother Patricia what you read. I got to make up stuff, and you congratulate them. Let's review a harsh type of discipline which paralyzes children's ability to learn, erode their self-esteem, reduce the ability to establish and maintain fruitful relationships. Boy, I wish I didn't have to go here, but I have to, because it's very emotional for me. Gut-wrenching, maybe for you too. I think we all have been in a retail store, and we witness a mother who's going through the checkout line, and she realizes that her child has a toy. And maybe she'll say, Katai, where did you get that toy from? I didn't tell you to get that toy. And she'll say, give me the toy. Well, the child will not. And the mother will snatch the toy from Katai. Well, Katai starts crying. And it's not so much that the mother took the toy, this probably happens so often, but the mother snatched the toy, no respect whatsoever. And because the Katai is crying, the mother says, shut up. Katai does not. And the mother threatens the child. Maybe says, you wait until we're at home. I'm going to give you a good butt whipping. You brought it on yourself. Well, Katai knows what a good butt whipping feels like. And she's embarrassed. All these people know her business. And Katai, just knowing that she's going to get a whipping, she cries louder. And the mother says again, you stop it. And Katai doesn't shut up. So the mother strikes Katai. Well, Katai now is screaming and crying. I mean, just you could hear all over the store. And Katai looks into the eyes of her mother with fear and discombobulation. How could my mother do this? My mother's supposed to love me. Well, we can say this much, that Katai, when she becomes a parent, she will emulate the same type of discipline, this cruel punishment, because she's probably saying, I probably deserve this. My mother loves me. She takes care of me. And Katai would just pass it on from one generation to the other generation. Now, this mother could have easily exercised this type of discipline. Katai, please give mother the toy. Now, I've explained to you every time we come to a store, you cannot have a toy. I don't have that kind of money. Now, you know, I love you. Please give me the toy. Katai will model this type of behavior, this positive type of discipline, and pass it on. Another generation will do so also. Now, I think it's more than reasonable to believe that Katai's mother is just simply demonstrating the type of harsh behavior that she received from her mother. Now, when I lecture, I hear so many different responses and questions, but let me give you 2 responses that I normally get. How else are you supposed to teach young children right from wrong if you don't whip them? There's nothing wrong with whipping a child. They'll learn. And you see me, I got so many whippings. I remember them today, and I turned out okay. I also hear this. I don't need to hear someone telling me how to make my child smart to become more intelligent. My child is already too smart, if you ask me. Oh, I want to say, have you had a standardized test given to your child? Mothers, I ask that you please share this video as well as my other recorded videos on early parenting, and I go into detail there. Now, if you would like to contact me, please visit my internet website, cliftoncastile.com. And I say this because you can procure my email, and we can communicate and exchange ideas correlated with early parenting. Now, I thank you for devoting some of your precious time to listen to this informal presentation. I hope we both have learned quite a bit. I have. Thank you so much again, mothers.